Yeah, so it's going to be all about the Faure Fantaisie today. And this is one of the hallmark pieces, really, of the flute repertoire. Um, and it shows up so many different aspects of flute technique, as well as being a really lovely piece to play. So yeah, shall we get started then? So the first thing that appears is the very first note, being a soft entry on a B, and quite often this comes out either a bit flat or it comes out with a bit of a sudden attack. And so I'd like to practice finding where the note actually starts. So it's finding the start of a note. And that's actually an exercise in my book. If you've got this, you can go to this page and we've got the whole exercise here written out a bit nicer than my scribbled notes. But if you don't, I've got this as well. So it's going to be that top one to start with. So we're going to do, just on a low E, finding where the sound starts by blowing up and bringing the air gradually down and then going back up again. So it's just a small swell. So you go from pianissimo to piano, back to pianissimo, nothing above that, okay? So let's all try and find gradually where that low E, the sound really starts. So it's where air goes to sound. Good, and if you can go back up, so you think of like a swing, you're going jaw forward, sound comes in, and then the jaw goes forward again. And if you have that ease of motion, that will really help. If you get something where the sound suddenly starts like that, that's the wrong kind of attack for this piece. So we need to practice starting floating in almost. So let's just do one more of the low E's, just thinking of the swing of the jaw, and then we'll try another note above it. Good. Does anybody hear some little whistly sounds when they do it? If you're hearing something like this, at the beginning you can hear that little whistle tone. And that's actually what we did the other day, whistle tones. And you're getting that simply because the lips are a little bit too open as you're blowing very softly. So when you start softly, make sure that the lower lip is forward, but it's not then opening as you want to make the sound too much. So keep the contact of the lower lip with the top lip, and you should still just get sound rather than the whistle, and take care of that at the end as well. So this is a really good exercise in soft playing and soft attack as well. Can we just practice the breathing before we go on to another note? Let's just practice the breathing that we need. So if you think, you take a nice breath and then you blow out softly and you crescendo with only air, and then you get softer again. And just feel that as one continuous motion of the air coming out, not stages. Okay, so let's try breathing in for 4, breathing out pianissimo to mezzo piano, back to pianissimo over 8 beats. Okay, so breathing in and let the air out. Good, one more time. This time, just feel your stomach as you're doing that. Good. So you just feel like one action of the stomach going in, but you're letting the air out at a slightly different amount. It's just increasing and then it's decreasing again. So can we try that? Imagining that as you're playing your low E again, just see if that helps. So we'll think about 8 beats, just a small crescendo. That's it, and let's do the octave higher, so another E above that. Same thing. Keep the airspeed nice and fast through there. One more time on that E. And then the harmonic above that. Same attack. One more time on that one. Good, so this is really setting you up really well for that first note, and you'll be able to pitch that note as well. So if you then try a normal B, let's just try that first B with that sort of soft attack feeling. So do the harmonic first, and then we'll switch to B. Good, and if you can make sure that the pitch is the same, if you notice that it's much flatter or much sharper, it's possible that your head joint is either too far out or too far in. So if you're flat on that B, it could be that you're not blowing quite high enough, but it could also be that your head joint's pulled out too much. So just do a quick sort of check of that as well, finding your head joint position. I've done a video of that on my own YouTube page if you want to check that out. But yeah, that's just making sure that you're dead in tune, your flute's set up nicely. Good, so that's how I would approach just that first B. It seems like a lot of work, but actually doing that kind of thing is really useful for starting lots of nice melodies that don't want that clear attack at the beginning. And if we think of that vocally or like a string player, how would you sing that note? So, if you sing a ha and try to feel the air through the H-y sound of the ha. So your air's already moving before you get the actual sound of your voice. So and then try that an octave higher if you can. So the resonance sort of comes up like this, and that's the air as well guiding that. So if the air's not moving, then it's very difficult to get that floating in sound. Try and think of your air just like doing that, and that will help with the attack of that note. So I hope that helps. So the next bit is to get the articulation of the following quavers in the next bar. So he's written a long slur, but with dots as well. And this is basically just expressive tonguing or long tonguing. You could also think of it as bell tones. So if we actually just try up the harmonic B and do a little vibrato pulse of quavers. Whoa, 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 whoa. Just to get this moving first, let the pitch move. So don't try and correct the pitch yet. So you're going to get something. Just try that. So let's do that together. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Good, and then whoa, 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 a little bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Good, so you can hear the rise and fall of the pitch, and that's related to you going ha, ha, wah, wah here. Now let's try and keep the pitch the same with the tongue added at the beginning. So you're going to get do, 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 do. You have to correct the pitch on each little note. And this will give you really nice little bell-like quality to each note. So let's try that. Still on the harmonic, but this time. Just keeping that note on the same pitch this time. Try that. So all tongued and connected. And a bit faster. Good. So you're basically aiming for, I don't know if you can see those triangles where I've written do, 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 and they're all connected to each other. So that gives you a good bell tone. Let's go to the harmonic below that, which is the A one. So to find the harmonic of that, you go down an octave and then a fifth. So it'll be low D. So let's do the same thing on low D, just the bell tones this time. So if you try to think of that as you're playing the melody, it will give you a nice connection of the sound, and it will give you the expressive tonguing. Because I'm not really thinking of vibrato, but the air is still sort of alive and moving. Okay, so that's a good sort of thing to try for that beginning bit. The next point on Faure would be about rhythm. And in the first section, it's in 6/8. And so the pickup of quavers, let's say in bar 18-19, when you've got those are quite melodic and lilting. Because of the 6/8 quality, it's a little bit like a Sicilian or something like that. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. But in the allegro, the pickup is also a quaver, but it's in 2/4, and it's also faster and it has a staccato. So the character is completely different. So for example, there's lots of energy in those notes. So I would like to practice just a couple of scales as a warm-up, but using those characters and that way, that time signature, to practice this sort of character of the music. So first, let's do G major in 6/8. And so it's going to be da dee da dum ba dum ba dum, something like that. So we'll start on a G, and it's going to be quaver crotchet, and the quaver is the pickup. So I'll just do a couple of bars first. Okay, so you're always leading on, the phrase is going forward. So can we try that together? 2 octaves of a G major scale up and down. Ready? 1. Good. Let's just do that one more time. Da, dee, dee, dum, dee, 1, 2, and try and subdivide as well, so you're hearing the quavers throughout. Da, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Ready? Let's try that. 1, 2. Okay, so there's nothing energized particularly about that. It's very smooth and melodic and lilting quality. Let's now do the rhythmic one in 2/4. So it's dum bum 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 bum. So we have a quaver and a dotted crotchet now. That bottom one there. So it's 4 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3. Okay, so let's try that. Still in G major. 1 2. Good, and one more time, a little bit faster. Bum 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 bum. 1 2. Okay, so if you practice like that, you've already got the character of both of those sections pretty much. Obviously, there's little different characters throughout, in between all the other bits, but you've got some basic outline there, and that gives your scales a little bit more interest than just playing them up and down. Okay, so that's rhythm. Another aspect I got asked on one of the comments was about rests and coming in and timing and things like that. And if you have a look at bar 176 of, that's in the Allegro section, that's where you have this sort of pickup. And if you breathe on a semi-quaver rest, you're definitely going to be late to the party. So try to breathe. You have a whole bar, and then you've got a crotchet and a semi-quaver rest. So try and breathe during the whole bar's rest. So you've got, and then you can go. So if it's in, and you're ready to go. And to practice this, it's I tend to think of k, t, k, t, because I'm going to be double tonguing. So I start on a k. Some people do t, t, k, t as well. So it's up to you what you choose, and you can practice all of them. But I would do k, t, k, t, k, t, k, t, k, t, k, and it's just following the pattern there. So make sure that the k just doesn't come in like kata 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 kata. So I would aim for the bar line when that will propel you forward. So like that. Can we just try starting on an E, going up to an E, and stopping on that one. So let's try that together. So we're going to breathe, and you come in when you want, but try and breathe like a whole bar before you come in. And then if you just go up a note, let's go from an F, same key, let's just keep it in C major. And then start on a G. And always keep aiming for the top, because scales really, they help you get somewhere. Just like when you're climbing a ladder, you're trying to get to that point. So you use your scales to propel the music forward. So you could practice actually Tafanel and Gober EJ4 a little bit like this. You can see that one that starts on an F. So you go dum, dum, dum. So you have a little rest, but then you're doing that 3-note pickup. So let's try that together. So I'll just do a couple. So can we try that? So if you know your Tafanel and Gober, EJ4, F major. Let's try that together. Good, so you can practice your scales like that as well. So that's 3 different ways of doing scales. And in this piece, in this allegro, we have so many different articulation patterns. So we've got 2 notes slur, dia, 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 like this. We've got 3 and 1, so dia, da, dia, da, dum. And this really comes to 4 in the 192 in this section. Okay, so everybody, I think, struggles with this one, even though it's just really accompaniment to the piano's melody. So it shouldn't really be an area where the flute's out in front. It's just an accompaniment. And so to find that ease of sound and articulation, practice scales with these articulation patterns. So can we do slurred in 2s, F major? Let's just do the normal up and down one though this time. So dia, 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 up to the top F and coming back down. Do it one more time, keep it really bouncy. And let's do 3 slurred, 1 toned. Dia, da, dia, da, dum. Like that. 1, 2. Good, and the other one is 4 slurred. So dia, dia, dia. Every 4 notes of the tongue. And what's the other one? Da, 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 da. So you slur across the stress note. So it's this one. Let's try that one. Okay, so you can practice just one key, but all the articulations that are in your piece, and then you've done quite well to prepare for this piece. What else is in here? Just at the end, we have these. And so you've got lots of octave or more drops or less. So let's practice just doing some octave drops, loud to soft though. So it's da, even though it's high to low, it's still loud to soft. So we need to blow down and up. So we'll start on a G. Let's just practice that. So loud G going down to a soft G. So careful not to go sharp at the top and flat on the bottom. So it's down, up. And then let's do it a little faster. Okay, now the next one is A, so let's do it on an A. And then the last one is a B. Okay, so then the next element, so that's one element. The next one will be D, D, going from the E, G, and then up to G. So let's try that. So it'll be. Let me try that. And then F sharp A to the top A. And then G sharp B, B. So if we add all that in, okay, and then we can do that whole section quite easily. Okay, and yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, it is a case of just practicing it, a lot of it, but if you do it methodically like that, I think you can be a lot more effective with your practice time and not waste time, and you'll progress a lot further. Good. I think tomorrow I will do working on high register notes and also just answering any questions. So if you have some questions about anything that you're working on that you'd like to do technically, and you can just ask me and we can work on it live, as it were. So if you're going to be here tomorrow, let's do that in the second half of the warm-up, and I can give you some ideas. But we will do high notes as well to start with. Okay, so thanks for coming and see you tomorrow.